Hi, this is Kendall Boyson, professional life and recovery coach, and you're listening to Encouragementology, the practice of instilling hope. Hi there! Thanks for joining me. On this show, we're on the hunt for some new messaging to propel us forward. Words are powerful and can pick you up, placate you, or pull you down. We're morphing your mantra to speak to you. Whether it's a quote, an inspirational message, or just catching a string of words, what you say and set your sights on can make all the difference. Let's dig into saying it, claiming it, and making it happen, and why what we say directly affects what we think. It's important to know what you can and can't control to be effective with your efforts. Ready to find a mantra that supports your goals and dreams? Now, you might associate the word mantra with yoga or meditation, like repeated over and over to put you in a state of awareness. A definition might be a mantra is a motivating chant, like, I think I can, I think I can. You repeat over and over to yourself on the last stretch of every marathon you run. A mantra is usually any repeated word or phrase. On this show, we are using mantra as a word, words, or quote that you will connect with that means something to your being or in respect to a goal. We're specifically talking about morphing your existing one or taking on a new one because every day we are changing and what served us before may not serve us today or in the days ahead. Maybe your mantra was helpful when you were just starting out, hoping to get your career started or your feet on solid footing. But now you're in a different stage of life with different needs. Maybe your mantra needs to be more self-nurturing versus getting ahead. It's no secret that I love goals. More importantly, I like moving forward, both professionally and personally. My mind doesn't operate with same-o. I have to be improving on my knowledge, my circumstances, my awareness, and more. So goals, big and many, give me something to shoot for. Each day is a new day to get closer to my goal. It doesn't always matter how close. This isn't a time for an all or nothing mentality. Even a small step forward is a small step forward. So be kind to yourself. And if you have an off day, don't throw in the towel because tomorrow is a new day to get even closer. Mantras can give you that source of inspiration, the anchor to which your goals are tied. When you're feeling lost and uninspired, they can help refocus your efforts. Now, you can find mantras for just about anything. If you're stressed out, gotten off track, need to exercise more, finding gratitude in the morning, and so on. But before we dig in and find a source of inspiration, we have a little work to do. What are you trying to do? You can't just throw inspiration against the wall to see what sticks. You need to pick a goal, a new direction, a state of being, and then find the words to encourage you on your journey. For me, I always need to know the why. What's in it for me? And why do this to get that? So to give us that, let's uncover the reason words are so powerful to our mindset. Margie Werrell tells us why your words are powerful. 8 positive speaking habits to build yourself up in an article she wrote for success.com. Have you ever heard yourself saying, this situation or person is just impossible? I'm a total failure at blank. Or I'm hopeless at blank. I'll never be able to figure this out. I'll try, but it's just such a nightmare. If you answered yes to any of those, then it's likely you've unconsciously been sabotaging your success simply by how you speak. Psychological research has found that your subconscious interprets what it hears very literally. Your mind and your body will follow the direction your words lead. So, if you want more influence, confidence, connection, or opportunities to come your way, begin with what you're projecting into the world each time you open your mouth. The words you use hold immense power. Power to fuel your confidence and ambition, and power to make you feel anxious and inadequate. Power to make a strong first impression, and power to be quickly forgotten. Power to create opportunities, and power to shut them down. As someone who speaks at conferences, I've had hundreds of people say to me, "I could never do what you do," or "Public speaking scares me to death." Of course, not everyone feels called to be on stage on a regular basis, but using language like never and scared to death can keep people who would benefit from building their presentation skills from even trying. The saying, "The words you speak become the house you live in," holds great truth. The world mirrors yourself back to you. If you use positive language about yourself and your ability to meet challenges and achieve your goals, then that is what will show up for you externally. Likewise, if you continually make declarations about yourself or your circumstances that echo hopelessness, incite fear, nurture anxiety, and breed pessimism, then those words will shape your reality, and not in a good way. Your language also impacts how others perceive and relate to you. If you often feel overlooked or undervalued, consider how your speech patterns are contributing to how others engage with you. Using out-of-power language like talking yourself down, making excuses, or second-guessing your opinion before you've even shared it can completely undermine your authority, your presence, and your power. Listen to any successful person, and you will notice they use language that is positive, precise, action-focused, and continually puts deposits of trust into their relationships. Neuroscience has proven that every one of us has the ability to rewire our brains with ongoing practice and to replace destructive habits of thought, speech, and behavior with more positive ones. Turning negative speech habits into positive ones begins with transparency. Since we often aren't aware that we're even sabotaging our own success, it can be so habitual. Here are two things. First, begin by monitoring your language over the next 24 hours. Second, ask someone else to monitor you as well, as our habits are often invisible. Then, make the decision to replace language that is qualifying, passive, and imprecise with language that is positive, specific, and declarative. The kind that puts you firmly in command, shifts your energy, and in doing so, makes you someone others want to listen to. Hold yourself powerfully. How you hold yourself physically, your posture, your facial expressions, the space you take up, profoundly, yet subtly, shapes how you feel emotionally and how the words come out of your mouth. So, first up, stand or sit tall, shoulders back, a light smile on your face, and plenty of eye contact with the people around you. That will amplify your presence, and it will ensure that the words you say come out in a way that will have optimal impact on those who hear them. Reframe forward. Instead of expressing yourself in terms of what you cannot do, reframe your language in ways that express forward movement. In other words, instead of "I can't," "I don't," "I won't," "I want," "I need," say "I can." I am, I will, I choose, I have, I love, I create, I enjoy. Avoid absolutes. Instead of, they are complete idiots, say, they see things differently from me. I wonder what they see that I don't. Instead of, no one around here ever listens to a word I say, try, some people don't seem to listen to me. I wonder how I can speak in ways that makes others want to pay more attention. Don't apologize for your opinion. Many people, particularly women, will preface their opinion with an apology or something else that minimizes the chances of ruffling any feathers. If that's you, stop. You don't have to apologize for having an opinion. Just express it respectively. Shelve the shoulds. The word should sounds harmless enough. However, what often lies beneath are unconscious and unhelpful social expectations, biases, and rules. So rather than use the word should, which carries a judgment of better, worse, use the word could and insert an alternative option that aligns with your personal desires. For instance, instead of saying, I should have everyone over 4th of July, say, I could invite everyone here, or we could go out instead. Express commitment. Stop trying. I'm sure many of you have a voicemail recording like this. Please leave a message and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Try updating your recording and remove the word try. Saying you'll try to do something provides an excuse for not doing it. So don't try, do. Limit the labels. Labels create a subconscious mental boundary that confines you. Labeling yourself as lazy or disorganized or pathetic with money or a terrible networker keeps you from being anything but that and only reinforces an undesired state. Just because you've been lazy and disorganized doesn't mean you can't choose to be different. Far better to say, I've not been very proactive about this, but I will be. Or, I've never prioritized getting organized, but I've now decided to start managing my time better. Rephrase problems as opportunities. We all have problems. What differentiates the most successful people is how they approach them. Got a bad boss? What a wonderful opportunity to develop your ability to manage up. Got a lot on your plate? What a great opportunity to improve your ability to delegate, prioritize, and develop efficiency. When you change the way you describe your problems, it opens up a whole new avenue for dealing with them. Instead of, this is a nightmare, say, this is an interesting challenge, and you will more easily approach it as such. Choose to speak in ways that bring out your best and make you feel more positive about your ability to do what inspires you to change. If there's one thing I know for sure, it's this: you are capable of far more than you think. Realizing just how capable you truly are begins the moment you decide to use words that empower you. I think we can all identify with negative self-talk. My mental words are always in a battle. It's easy for me to turn a negative into a positive for someone else, or see the brighter side for someone else. Even turn a frown upside down for someone else. No, actually, I'm usually always smiling, but I do have times where I need to dig deep to stop doubting myself or pointing out my shortcomings. We are all unique. I mean, I know this, but to trust that this means I don't have to feel like I'm missing out or less than perfect because I don't match what I see in someone else. I'm doing better about catching myself and turning the thought process in a whole new direction, and being more honest. It's pointing out everything I do like and what is going right. We tend to need a constant reminder of all the wonderful things in our lives when something negative is challenging our self-esteem. Why are pity parties so enticing? You know, one of my favorite quotes is, "She stood in the middle of the storm, and when the wind didn't blow her way, she adjusted her sails," by Elizabeth Edwards. For me, this is that anchor I was talking about. She didn't run from conflict. She stood where she was, in the middle. And even when nothing was happening, she didn't take a rest. She looked for wind by adjusting her sails. This speaks empowerment to me and being tenacious. When I'm feeling weak and overwhelmed, I can refer to the feeling I get when I recite this quote. I've made bookmarks and magnets for others to share this feeling. Can you recall one of your favorites? Let's take another look at the power behind what we say and think from an interesting article I found on legacy.com. Words are more powerful than guns. Violence begins and ends in communication. At the level of youth violence, many acts of youth violence are initiated when one person feels they've been disrespected or dissed. Verbal violence usually precedes and then accompanies physical violence. For every person suffering physical violence, there are hundreds suffering the effects of verbal violence. For every person who just gotten a fist in the face, there are hundreds who took a verbal punch in the gut. There are major differences between verbal and physical violence. A physical attack is obvious and unmistakable. It hurts and often leaves a visible mark. Verbal violence is different. Except in certain public circumstances like a court of law, there's no group or body you can call for help. The pain of verbal violence goes deep to the self and festers there. Because nothing shows on the surface, you can't expect much sympathy or even actual assistance. Worst of all, verbal violence often goes unrecognized, except at a level you probably may not even understand yourself. If words can hurt, they can also heal. Think of the 4 words, "I have a dream." The moment they enter your mind, you know who said them and why. They are a call to action and a call to find the best part of ourselves. They're a part of history. While the person who originally spoke them may have been silenced, the words live on with a capacity to change the world through all those who embrace them. Words are definitely more powerful than guns. Think of other particularly powerful words. Thank you. I'm sorry. I love you. Hope. Trust. Courage. Peace. It is through words that we create our lives and our world, that we choose what to pay attention to and make real. Speech communication professor Irving J. Lee saw communication as fundamental. Communication plays a tremendous role in human affairs. It serves as a means of cooperation and as a weapon of conflict. With it, people can solve problems, erecting the tower structures of science and poetry, and talk themselves into insanity and social confusion. Lee Thayer, a communication scholar, says it this way: "It isn't exactly that we humans are made of words, but we are made of what we can make with words. Ideas, images, hopes, theories, fears, plans, understandings, expectations, love, a past and a future, culture, ways of seeing civilizations, minds, everything human. We are at once the source and the product of how we comprehend the world and how we express ourselves in it. Colin Cherry sums up human communication this way. Words can arouse every emotion: awe, hate, terror, nostalgia, grief. Words can demoralize a person into torpor, or they can spring a person into delight. They can raise him to heights of spiritual and aesthetic experience. Words have frightening power. Through communication, we develop our own humanity and build the bonds that make communities. We can cease to talk, we break the fragile web that is community, and make it virtually impossible to learn from each other. Without communication, ignorance leads to misunderstanding, and misunderstanding all too often leads to violence. Much has been written about the need for new patterns of communication in our society. There's deep dissatisfaction with the traditional ways of dealing with conflict, from argument to debate to lawsuits to violence. There's a growing feeling that there has to be a better way. Part of that better way involves using the words and skills of constructive conflict resolution. The goal isn't to eliminate vigorous dissent, but to make dissent possible by replacing violence and avoidance with rich relationships that can tolerate productive disagreement. Whenever people communicate with each other, there is much at stake. The usual model for understanding interpersonal communication is the mechanical sender-receiver model. We describe individuals as sending and receiving messages. The model ignores much of the complexity in human communication. Communication is the process of creating meaning, the process through which we construct and navigate our lives. We may need a completely different, courageous model of communication in order to get where we want to go. A number of researchers have shown how principles of jazz improvisation can provide promising models for relationships. While remaining attentive to and respectful of some basic rules of music, jazz players constantly challenge themselves to innovate without alienating the others. Well-worn riffs are called comps, which is short for competency traps, and a player who chooses them is seen as weak. Unlike the usual pattern in relationships, jazz musicians fail when they stay with what's safe and known. We must think beyond sending messages. The way we communicate every day in our family becomes a model for our children. In a How to Talk So Kids Can Learn at Home and in School book, Adele Faber and Elaine Maslish comment like this: "It occurred to us that we had an additional responsibility to today's generation of children. Never before have so many young people been exposed to so many images of casual cruelty. Never before have they witnessed so many vivid demonstrations of problems being solved by beatings or bullets or bombs. Never before has there been such an urgent need to provide our children with a living model of how differences can be resolved with honest and respectful communication. That's the best protection we can give them against their own violent impulses. When the inevitable moments of frustration and rage occur, instead of reaching for a weapon, they can reach for the words they've heard from the important people in their lives." Delinquent behavior is considered acting out by psychologists. To teach young people how to express in words what they feel is to help them speak out rather than act out. To teach children how to communicate to find alternative solutions to a problem helps them to recognize that they have options in their lives. Sharing books is one of the most powerful ways to bring the richness and complexity of words into your home to explore their power. The words in a book can spark the imagination, stir the soul, introduce new ideas, and offer delight. The words in a book can also spark other words in conversations with a parent or a teacher. Talk freely with children about a book, about words, the pictures, the values, the ideas. Empower young people to use their own words. Empower them to use words to create a meaningful story for themselves, to connect with others, and to make a positive difference. It is words that can incite people to commit acts of violence, just as it is words that can unite and heal. Words have tremendous power, so it's important to encourage thought and dialogue. So many times we say something to someone or even to ourselves, never fully understanding the effect of those words. Did you just plant a seed of inspiration to be uncovered at just the right time? Or maybe a seed of doubt that will stay stuck, causing a series of issues. You may have had an opportunity to encourage with your words and even inspire real action. The point is to be mindful about the power of your words. Use your time, your effort, and your words wisely. Okay, do you have an idea of what you want to do or are trying to do that could benefit from some uplifting words? Maybe you need a little extra inspiration to get your mind churning. Well, Aaron Westbury gets us started with 25 motivational mantras that actually work. So get ready. Have you ever come across a quote or mantra from someone that left you feeling motivated to achieve all your dreams? Have you ever uttered the words, "Nothing will stop me this time," but then all of a sudden that urge to improve yourself or your business vanishes within just a few short days? Well, it's okay if this has happened to you. I believe almost all of us have been there at some point in our lives. I certainly know I have. The fact of that matter is the juice runs out. The motivation that we had after hearing those inspiring words start to run thin, and we're left with nothing but fatigue and disinterest to continue the grinding and hard work that chasing your dream actually requires. Fortunately, not all mantras have this effect. Some mantras actually work. There have been numerous amounts of famous people who have been accredited with a successful daily mantra. For instance, Steve Jobs would wake up every morning and ask, "If today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today?" Ben Franklin would wake up every day and ask the question, "What good shall I do today?" So, to help you stay motivated and continue to chase all your dreams, here is a compiled list of 25 best motivational mantras that will actually work for you in the long term. Mantra number 1, you didn't come this far to only come this far. This is one of the best motivational mantras and is a great reminder of how far we have come. By waking up every morning and repeating this mantra, you remind yourself of all the success that you've had in your life and are ready to tackle the day. It makes you realize that if we were to quit, as we all have the tendency to do from time to time, how much we would actually be giving up. Mantra number 2, you get what you focus on. This mantra keeps our minds focused on what is important. So often, we have a tendency to fall in the trap of having very negative thoughts that consume us. This mantra, if repeated daily, can remind you of the importance of staying positive every day of your life. Mantra number 3, you can find an excuse or you can find a way. In every crisis, you have 2 options. Keep going or give up. Usually, if we choose to keep going, we're able to overcome whatever obstacle lies before us. If we choose to make excuses for our misfortunes, we ultimately may end up throwing in the towel. Mantra number 4, wake up, kick butt, and be kind. I love the simplicity of this mantra. Despite its simplicity, it says it all. The ultimate goal in life is to be the best at whatever it is we do, which in return brings satisfaction. But what brings us true lasting happiness is being kind. Mantra number 5, I'm doing this for me. All too often in life, we are crippled by our fear of what other people will think. We are so consumed with keeping others happy that we forget to chase our own aspirations. This mantra is not intended to promote selfishness, but reminds us that the best and only way to help others is to help ourselves first. Mantra number 6, action conquers fear. One of the most concise yet powerful motivational mantras. This one is very simple, short, and straight to the point, and says it all. Fear keeps us from achieving our dreams. Overcoming fear oftentimes requires action. Action can sometimes involve risk. Risk, as a result, is our way of overcoming all that we fear. Action conquers fear. Mantra number 7, yesterday you said tomorrow. How many times have you said, I'll do it tomorrow? One of our worst enemies is the notion that we have more time than we actually do. The time to start is now. Live in the moment and chase all of your dreams while you still can. Mantra number 8, don't wish for it, work for it. This mantra for success has the ability to get you out of your head anytime you drift off into the world of what could be. You know what you want, so there's no time for daydreaming about it. Instead, just get to work. The difference between success and failure is the action that you take today. Mantra number 9, excellence does not require perfection. When we're passionate about something, whether it be fitness, business, etc., failure and imperfections can drive us crazy. This mantra reminds us not to chase perfection, but instead excellence, and realize that failure is a big, if not the biggest, component of success. Mantra number 10, our intentions create our reality. Believe it or not, we get exactly what we want in life, and we get exactly what we intend to get. The problem, however, is our thoughts are so negative that that's what we bring into our life, negativity. Start thinking positive and have the intentions of being great. Mantra number 11, if you're tired of starting over, stop giving up. This is so true. I believe it is much easier to make something out of what you already have than to give up on all that you have accomplished and start over again in 6 months. If something isn't quite working, make adjustments, modify, but never give up. Mantra number 12, know your limitations and defy them. One of the most important aspects of success is knowing your limitations. When you know what you're weak at, you're able to come up with a plan to overcome those weaknesses. Don't shy away from your weaknesses, but instead overcome all that you may struggle with. Mantra number 13, 1 year equals 365 possibilities. I actually have a t-shirt that says this. In fact, it says opportunities, but still, same thing. And I like it because it insists that you focus on 1 day at a time. All too often, we get overwhelmed by the bigger picture when we're far away from achieving what we set out to achieve. Focus on one day at a time, and you'll get there. Mantra number 14. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Now, this quote is famous and might be a bit of a cliche at this point, but it is true. When we fail to capitalize on opportunities, or even worse, fail to pursue them in the first place, we throw away any chance we have of that being our big moment. Mantra number 15. It's the start that stops most people. The hardest thing to do is start. Oftentimes we look too far ahead and only see how far away we are. Instead, we should try and just make the first step. This mantra highlights the fact that we don't need all the answers, but instead, we only need to take the first step. Mantra 16. The best project you'll ever work on is you. If you want to improve your business, marriage, position at your company, etc., the best way to do it is to improve yourself first. It is important to work hard at what we want to accomplish, but we must never forget to work hard at improving ourselves as well. Mantra number 17, work harder. Motivational mantras won't work unless you do. This mantra is simple and straight to the point. Work harder. If we aren't where we want to be with fitness, relationships, work, etc., the best solution, and sometimes the only solution, is to work harder. Working harder is never a bad solution. Mantra number 18. Things don't happen to me, they happen for me. This mantra will keep you from falling into the mentality of a victim. Where you are in life has nothing to do with luck or fate or anything. Instead, it has everything to do with what you're allowing to happen in your life. Let things happen for you and quit waiting for things to come to you. Mantra 19. Tough times don't last. Tough people do. This mantra will keep you from giving up when times are tough. A tough person will always overcome tough times. So be tough and don't give up when things aren't going the way you expect them to go. Just continue to push on and you'll get to where you want to go. Mantra 20. I am capable. I am strong. I believe in myself. This positive affirmation brings you to think about all the good things about yourself. In a world that can be cruel and full of negativity, this mantra allows you to block all that out so that you can focus on being your best every day of your life. Mantra 21. Don't be afraid to be great. Sometimes we may think that we don't deserve success. We may think that we weren't born to be successful, and people who are successful are different. This couldn't be further from the truth. And that is what this mantra affirms. You can be great, and you will be great if you persevere and work hard. Mantra 22. You can have anything you want if you give up the belief that you can't have it. The mistake we fall into a lot of times is the thought that we can't have this or we can't have that. The fact of the matter is, we work hard and dedicate ourselves, we can have anything we want. Whether it's fitness, business, relationship goals, we can achieve it. Mantra 23. Nothing will work unless you do. The beauty of life is that we can have almost anything if we work hard for it. However, this mantra helps us to realize that the opposite is true. If we don't work, nothing will. So the next time you feel like being lazy, this mantra can help you stay motivated. Mantra 24. What would you attempt to do if you knew you couldn't fail? This mantra allows you to actually answer it directly. Every morning when you wake up, answer this hypothetical question and then follow through with the answer by living it out. This mantra keeps you from falling into the pits of failure and allows you to go through your day with the confidence that you can succeed at whatever you aim to do. Mantra number 25. Drum roll. There's plenty of time to rest when you're dead. Although the last of these motivational mantras may seem a little dark, it helps us to realize that we don't live forever. Use it to accomplish everything you ever dreamed of and hold nothing back because we aren't here forever. If you have ambitions, chase them and don't ever rest until the goal is completed. Hopefully, these motivational mantras will move you to go out and to chase your dreams. Many, if not most, successful people in the world have a go-to mantra they refer to whenever times get tough. Some successful people will even repeat their mantras to themselves throughout each day. Most importantly, remember that it isn't the mantra that defines you. It's the actions that you take. So be proactive and go get what rightfully belongs to you, success. I'm on a path to learn and grow, so my mantra for 2021 is wreck me with revelation. No longer will I think the way I've always thought. Instead, I will be open to new ideas and opinions. I will research, read, study, and listen. And I will be flexible knowing I'm still growing and always learning. If you want to share encouragementology with a friend who needs to know they are not alone in this journey of self-discovery, you can visit encouragementology.com or wherever you stream your content to receive this episode and all others. Follow us on Facebook for additional encouragement throughout the week. So I challenge you, pick a target and a purpose, then explore motivational words and phrases that speak to you. Be mindful of what you say, think, and share, knowing that power comes from the tongue and plants in the mind. I know you can do it. Thank you for listening to Encouragementology with Kendall Boyson, where we find positive ways to handle some of life's challenges.
I stumbled through until the path was clear. That's when I